Oh, VOD. Oh, VOD. I respect that opinion. At the end of the day, Soniqs have been a good team, chicks. I mean, we saw them in action. And for some teams, I think we saw a substitute come in and it's really janky, and you're like, okay, well, clearly they don't have the play time together, so you can't really count that against them. But with Soniqs, they had an Alraz, and they look great. They look so incredibly good. The problem is Torrent has had this roster for a bit. Zanil is the new kid on the block, and they're showing off, as many of these young kids getting into RLCS do. They're a great addition. They complement well, so I don't know if it's going to be as clean for that. For me, I want to lean towards Torrent, even if they have struggled a little bit, mainly just because I like the combination of all those play styles, and I think they could probably take this 4-2 in the series. How you feeling about this one, Chixa?
Torrent? Of anything, I thought Soniqs would have the lead after yesterday's performance, coming out as the #1 seed, 4-0ing Prestige to start in round 1 yesterday. Soniqs are hot, and especially T-Corel. T-Corel has just been phenomenal in this series. In particular, I think Soniqs have it in the bag. I'm going to say in 4-2 fashion in their favor, since they have just been so strong on the field.
And and as we said yesterday, I'm a huge T-Corel fan, and I don't mean to keep voting against the Soniqs. It's really just maybe it's somewhat of our friend and colleague J Cubed in the admin chat on Oakland for the CRL. I always doubted against them. They always came through, and hey, who knows? Maybe I doubt against the Soniqs, and they tend to pull through. So I guess we'll have to see if that pattern will hold. This is the first best-of-7 of today. Championship Sunday is going to be a lot of best-of-7 single elim bracket to see who's going to be moving on, securing better seating for that 35K championship, and it's all starting right around here. Game 1, Soniqs and Torrent. And this is going to be, I would say, a fantastic series all around. But to be honest, Chixa, we're treated with that all the time here on AAA. T-Corel right off the rip, a dainty little flick in.
I can't believe you second-guessed T-Corel to already come out in the first 10 seconds and make a freaking phenomenal goal. T-Corel continues to impress on the field, and that is just the start of his abilities. But one thing I know out of Torrent is they know how to bounce back. So they're going to be looking for that counterattack, and very quickly, especially, you don't want to give Soniqs momentum, and it looks like they may just have a little bit of it to start. Here comes in the second shot for T-Corel, a demo on the goal line, but the ball is indeed cleared out for Torrent.
And just as a point of clarification for everybody watching, this is not a sub. Caden is Zanil, so for some reason, players really just dislike using their actual names in these tournaments at times on the accounts. I mean, hey, we had to deal with Bambi being the one and only Cello yesterday for Accelerate, so really anything could happen. But at the end of the day, with all of the roster concerns aside, yes, I have been doubting, and I think that's the second day in a row where I've come in trying to lay some concern about Soniqs that T-Corel scored like immediately after I finished that sentence. So clearly, patterns are definitely in the air, Chixa.
It's great, honestly, for the Soniqs, because they continue to put on pressure. Such a fantastic corner touch for T-Corel with 2 committed Torrent players, and Alraz positioned second man to clean that play up. It pops right in his lap for that shot. Soniqs, they're looking good very early on, only over a minute down on the clock, and they have certainly dominated.
Yeah, and usually when I say dominated, I would like to push back, but I have not seen a shot yet, and neither has the game, because that stat line is completely 000. So looking forward to see what Torrent can build up. And historically, it's a team that's actually been very comfortable playing conservative. The problem is you can't afford to play conservative once they actually do get on aggression, with Magic Bear missing that one. Able to race to the ball in time. Zanil trying to change that one. 50 bouncing out. Alraz does not have it. Kinsey does. T-Corel, the savior, able to just get a bumper in time.
Good clear upfield. T-Corel ready. A little deflect off the backboard. McKinsey indeed ready. Zanil goes center. There's a fantastic pass and shot by Magic Bear, and Torrent finds the bounce back to get their first goal on a phenomenal side field-to-field end play.
And that's a touch you really like to see, especially with the player on the back end of it. Magic Bear is the player that I want to feed if I am Torrent. They are most mechanical. They cause a lot of issues on the field, and you see that kind of archetype of a team really starting to build across RLCS, where you just have one player who causes the havoc. I think it's MajicBear for Torrent and T-Corel or Soniqs. He started off this play. Now who's going to finish it off? It's Andy out of the corner trying to slow play it. Kinsey had some hesitancy, but will get a deflection away for now. T-Corel off the backboard. Alraz, tough angle. Andy from an even tougher one, and it's going to get denied by Kinsey on the near post. Nice concerted effort thrown forward from the Soniqs offense.
A little bit of dangerous double commit, but they keep up the pressure for the Soniqs. Clear comes out for Zanil, but only straight to Andy, who will put it right back. Doesn't get much of a follow-up touch, so midfield very important and vital. Alraz, though, taking control. This little bounce on down and in, and Alraz finds the angle for yet another Soniqs goal.
This game is physics-based, but this stuff just defies logic. How do you get it below the bar from that angle? Alraz finds a way. The blue tag buff, of course, is what all pros benefit from. That's really the only reason they're good, Chicksa. And that is why they're able to get goals like that. Incredible stuff here from Soniqs, even when Torrent seems to have found some way to get something, kind of poke their toe in the door, trying to make this game a little bit more even. Soniqs continue to try and run away with it.
They just look so confident on the field. You can see it with the way they touch that ball upfield. They know it's going to get to someone else. They're able to extend these plays, and even when the ball gets on their side, they're patient. They don't panic, and that's helped them clear the ball across field and just get it to the opposite end. But Torrent, they've had a little bit of extended time. Kinsey has some boost to work with, but just can't find it towards middle field. Andy finally gets this touch upfield, and here we go yet again.
A little bit of a pinch there from Torrent. It's going to go all the way down, and Alraz is going to be going into the graveyard. Caden trying to send it in there, but not going to work out, can say. Going to just try to bounce that around, but even when they're trying to set up these plays, saw MajicBear post up on the side wall. Kinsey tried to find him, but it seems like Soniqs is covering every single option. They're really trying to choke down on the number of options that Torrent can even activate, but right now, it's just Torrent trying to stay alive, and that is really hard when you got T-Corel being high flying. He gets a second to join Alraz, and this game one getting kind of ugly.
This is what happens when you vote against the Soniqs in a series. They just defy logic. They prove you wrong, and they manage to just really dominate. Dominate is going to be the key word here, honestly, in my opinion. Unless Torrent is able to find one pretty soon, I'd say this is a game for the Soniqs that they definitely controlled. But 45 seconds remains on the clock. That's still a little bit of time, and a demo on the offside of the field will open up that net. T-Corel able to come back to the ball, and just like that, they find the save. Such a promising look, a play that could have happened, and it made something for Torrent, but instead it's back on the other end, and they're just scrambling to find this clear.
And they will be able to get one. Kinsey gets it past the defender, but not past the post. That's going to be T-Corel off the seal and extended out to Andy. And as you said, the confidence is flowing for them. You're going for really intricate setups and shots. Look at the pass down from Soniqs. 1, 2, 3 for number 5.
What a absolute team play. That ball touches all 3 players on the Soniqs, and the vision to find T-Corel on the top left corner of the field down to Andy. It's such a promising look, and really a flawless execution. You could not have placed those passes any better. The clock about to wind down, and I will definitely say the Soniqs have dominated game 1 in this series.
You can tell it's domination because MajicBear has left the match to change their car, something that I really feel like you only see from pros when they're just not feeling that game and are not confident with what they were doing on the field. So as they change that car, so too does Torrent, rather, have to really change how they approach this game. I will say, even with roster changes coming in here for the Soniqs, a very consistent effect of Soniqs in a lot of RLCS level matches or just in these local tournaments is that they tend to be an incredibly fast team, and it catches a lot of other opponents off guard. And this game 1 tends to be sloppy all over the place, and this is what happens when Soniqs not only are bringing the speed, but also the finishing. Look at that. 5 goals off of just around 12 shots coming through. I mean, that is just pounding that net.
saves needed to be made on the other end, 6 needed for Torrent. They spent so much time on their half. We rarely saw an actual shooting opportunity. I can't think of the 5 shots that they actually took during that game because most of them were easily deflected away. It's going to take a lot for Torrent, a lot of mental strength to come back and start strong, but maybe an early goal will do just that. Kinsey able to find some pressure, manages the demo. There's chaos on the goal line, and he'll end up finding the goal in the first 14 seconds.
My goodness, Kinsey, I would like to. Normally, those are the type of goal sticks where I'm thinking, well, Kinsey starters, they deserve it. I don't know about that last one. They're just flopping around like a fish out of water and just getting that ball knocked into them. I guess that's good enough. Kinsey don't want to score on your own goal though, so they're just gonna get away with that one. As T-Corel will mount up an interesting double tap, just keep it in the mixer, but nothing more than that. So it seems like Torrent has their lead, and they're not going to give one up early as they move back out to mid.
Smashgg, good control, able to find it to Kinsey, but here we go, T-Corel, opposite end, doesn't win the 50, and Andy will need to cut this ball quick. Such early attacks by Torrent. They keep challenging this ball quick, and T-Corel and the rest of the Sonic side just need to continue to clear this ball outfield. Kinsey finds no contact. Another clear comes out, and Smashgg low on boost, only to send it to the corner. Struggling is Torrent a little bit to get this ball out of their half, but some boost will certainly help with their situation. Pass possibly, but T-Corel again to cut it off. His speed, his vision, so phenomenal, setting up Alraz in this play, and indeed blocked off by Torrent yet again.
So Soniqs will rebuild out of the back, and T-Corel going to be sent to the scrapyard. Now Kinsey to the back post. Should be easy for Andy, but what can Zanil do with this one? They're keeping it close. They're trying to get the 50. It will at least slow things down. I think they flat-tired T on the side wall. Then Smashgg going to give him a little hip check. Kinsey in the middle, but Andy clearly there for it, despite Zanil jumping for it. I do like the aggression out of Torrent. They just got to make sure they take care on these counterattacks. We know how lethal Soniqs can be when given space.
Rotations are going to be vital. Midfield presence as well. You want to control it to keep the ball on whichever half that you want it in. And right now, they're able to do just that for the Sonic side. T-Corel grabbing this from midfield and causing a little havoc in the corner. A back pass here to Andy. Good vision yet again. Andy finds one, but Kinsey patiently waiting back to send this to Smashgg upfield. The outlet pass possibly turning into something, but T-Corel again positioned in the right place, right time to get that ball away.
With a sitter in front of net, T-Corel somehow getting that save away. Kinsey probably wants that one back on the placement. Zanil, they're trying to make up for it. A rocket of a shot, but guess who? T-Corel again getting the save. Can they do it a third time? They in fact do on Smashgg's shot. Soniqs, you don't even need a team. You just got T-Corel to mind your goal line.
4 saves already for T-Corel this game. 1 for Andy, and that's their 5 saves against the 7 shots Torrent has already been able to bring. It's just been Torrent pressure after continuous pressure. A bump here for Smashgg. Up into Zanil. Kinsey to finish, and Torrent finds their second.
I gotta feel like when these goals go in, it's more so just like frustration, like finally, like what do we have to do? They got the first goal, but then Soniqs really putting up a fight there. As you can see, these 5 saves so far on the squad, but game number 2 going a lot more the way that Torrent would prefer. Could even grow further, but I don't think Kinsey understood just how much space they had, trying to spike it down, but Aura is going to prevent goal number 3, and Smashgg demoed for good measure. Now it's Andy on the far side, but looks like Zanil quicker to that challenge and gets the bump, but Smashgg throwing it away, maybe a bit over-eager on that build-up.
T-Corel, does he leave it open field? But Smashgg able to send it away, and it's just been Torrent who has been really aggressive on the field. Finally, Andy in the dribble out, and it'll be an own goal up pass, something.
It all works together. It doesn't need to be anything too complex. You just need to put it in a weird position, and I don't think you can give the assist to Andy if it's an own goal, but it's a brutal deflection. But it's set up by the majesty of that air dribble all the way through. So very well done by Soniqs. Put the ball in a weird position and hope for the best. Zanil trying to do the very same with his air dribble over the top, trying to get a dunk, but Alraz the convenient last defender getting it away. Magic Bear keeping it close. Look at the control. Look at the bump attempt at Andy. They ate their Wheaties. They're going to be able to tuck that one to the side and get up onto offense.
Pass here could possibly go upfield, but instead sent out by Magic Bear, and T. Carell needing to save this from his own corner. Kinsey's there, another pass upfield from Alres. T. Carell offside wall, doesn't have the boost, and Alres is demoed for all his efforts. Andy again trying to make something special, able to steal the boost in the corner, but it'll be in Zanil's hands. It'll drop down off the 50, and Kinsey, his third finishing goal. He finds the hat trick, and Torrent may just have gotten enough to take game 2.
This is why positioning is important. I can't necessarily say any of these goals from Kinsey are incredibly good. I'm not impressed by a lot of them. It's just solid positioning. They're always where they need to be, and can't ask for a better setup like that off of the air dribbles. Zanil just dropping it right on a platter, and that is not going to be missed, especially now that Kinsey has felt the pain of that game 1 kind of beatdown instituted by the Soniqs, and with 20 seconds remaining, seems like Torrent have this game figured out, despite Soniqs still tucking away some of these shots. Is that the counterattack? No. Magic Bear cuts it out. Kinsey is greedily collecting a 4th, and it looks like Torrent is collecting game number 2.
They certainly added on to their insurance goal there. They don't need anything else. That is just the nail in the coffin for game 2. They showed that they can dominate just as well as the Soniqs can, and they certainly dominated this game. Time just wants to tick off the clock for the Soniqs. They'll look maybe to find one that'll give them some momentum going into game 3, but 3 seconds left on the clock. I don't think a miracle can happen for 2 goals.
No, but it is always nice to get these goals before you transition into the next games, just so you can actually focus up and say, okay, well, it's fine. We're not getting completely shut down here. We can still get some goals through, even if it is a garbage time one, and I think it just boosts the morale, because obviously a loss stings, but a little less when it's 2 goals. However, we are going to be going to the effective best of 5, the rest of this best of 7, to open up our quarterfinals of our championship Sunday, with Torrent answering back, and in a pretty convincing fashion.
I mean, look at that shot count. 15-5 in favor of Torrent. They have 3 times as many shots, and I'm going to guess about 3 times as much possession time. They kept the ball on the Sonic side of the field almost the entirety of that game, and that's where the extra shots came in, the extra attempts. And notably, Kinsey has 4 goals with the 4 assists, 2 each from Zanil and Magic Bear. So clearly they have their strategy down for who finishes off these plays and who's able to set them up.
And being able to set up these plays, I think, is so important. We were talking, a lot of the teams yesterday were struggling with that developmental play in the midfield. It felt like they had the shot coming in, but it was really just kind of a desperation throw to test the defense, keep them on their toes, maybe buy time to steal some boosts, but there wasn't any combination play. Both Soniqs and Torrent, in 1 and 2 respectively, are able to get sustained offense because everyone's getting involved. They have a lot of pressure from multiple sources, shutting down clearance lanes, and I think that is going a long way to spell out some at least temporary success for these teams. And now that the games have swung back and forth, we're know that this is going to be a nice series as that continues. We'll have to see if Torrent can keep the train going, or if Soniqs have something to say about that. Andy will not be denied by the crossbar. There's our opener.
What control coming out of Andy, able to flick it just enough close that he follows it up. Dangerous, I will say, off that crossbar, but he does find the finish. I really feel like these first blood goals in each game give some team momentum. It's nice to see that they find success so early on, and that's the type of mentality they want to hold throughout the game.
And we're starting to see Zanil and Kinsey, I've noticed a couple times, just going to the backfield, going for these slight flicks into the middle just to try to bump a defender, and it's working a lot to keep Soniqs from being a bit over-aggressive and getting for these saves. You can see the hesitancy on the near post, making sure they're not making any crucial errors. Kinsey not making any on that save. Also able to get the clear through. Magic Bear trying to find it again. Alraz quickly up for it, so the deflection will come through to T. Corral. What can they do with this space? Setting up a flick, or rather a fake. Zanil's going to call their bluff and able to extend that play out. Kinsey almost tucked it through. There was a seam in the defense, but it is very quickly sewn shut.
Again, Zeniel with the ball. No challenge comes off the backboard, but just deflected out. Andy, the huge flick up field when Magic Bear is ready to send it back into the corner. Alvarez looking to put on pressure for the Soniqs, but cleared out only as far as into T. Carell. Doesn't find the bump, but Andy is there right now. He ate his Wheaties too. Takes the 50s and it's on in.
Yeah, Torrent is making sure all the players eat their breakfast going through this. Look at the strength from Andy, just plowing through the defense. You're trying to hold up, but that's the thing, is that is a perfectly timed side roll, and that they're not just getting one contact in their 50, they're getting 4 in a row. There's only so much you can do about that. Soniqs starting off hot here on Utopia, and seems like they're trying to keep it going with these aggressive passes. The problem is they've given it up. Andy, though, making work happen on defense as well. A great save on that infield pass. Torrent tried to bust out. Try number 2, but Kinsey gonna get deflected away. Zeniel trying to set up a player again. T. Carell, another save for the Soniqs.
The reaction time is just incredible. It's mere pixels and seconds that is the make or break between these shots going on in. Able to deflect is Kinsey on this ball, and he will also bring it upfield only as far as midfield. T. Carell running out of boost, and that's been a problem for a lot of players these games, especially with how much aerial and air triples we have seen. They run out of boost quickly and need to pick it up. Just the save, Andy there. You could see the flip, it just doesn't go right, but good thing upfield, the ball will go, and Soniqs only momentarily getting a breath before Torrent is able to pour on the offense yet again.
And Kinsey just not really going to be happy with that touch. I think Magic Bear would be happy with that pass. Zeniel not quite ready for it. Double commit from Soniqs, but a demo in the midfield from treating Magic Bear is going to complicate things. A lot of errant balls touching around. Torrent still looking for that first goal, and despite the game having calmed down, at least in the scoring department, this is very much still Soniqs a game to lose, as they have been threatened, but I feel like they've had an answer for all the questions that Torrent has been asking, especially when they get into that attacking third. It's this transition game that is killing Torrent. Soniqs is back to that game 1 oppressive midfield defense.
I want to go back to that corner too real quick. You saw T. Carell had no boost. He retreats, and Andy actually comes in to pick it up. I can tell communication is flowing for the Soniqs at times, but the break in the defense finally comes on through with this clear up field, and lucky for Zeniel, he's in the right place, right time to find that shot.
That's a tough one from Soniqs as well. You can see it was just poor timing on the boost pickups. You had T. Carell going to the sideline. You had Alraz, I believe, going to the side mid boost, and unfortunately that left a massive gap in the backfield, which will always be finished off when there is an open net at this level. So 2-1 is our scoreline at 80 seconds remaining. Torrent trying to see if they can find their way through. Alraz and T. Carell both on the near post, trying to hold the ball up. Zeniel doing the same with a 50. Kinsey gonna get faked underneath. Magic Bear is gonna have to rush across, and that 50 is not gonna go their way. It's a high lob for T. Carell. Andy's also up with it, but the power is still there. The clearance from Kinsey trying to make a fast break down, but Soniqs doing well to hold this ball up, and seems like the attack might be done, but as I say that, the miss coming through, Zeniel will collect.
Double commit started that all down with T. Carell and Andy upfield, and now the rotation's back, just make it dangerous. Alraz not too much boost to work with, a difficult read off the backboard. He doesn't find the touch, and now suddenly Torrent has come back to tie up this series, and now it's going to be dangerous. Less than a minute left on the clock. Golden goal territory if someone can just hold the lead and gain one in these remaining seconds.
Oh, that's going to be a weird deflection, Kinsey. A great save. Honestly, my words echoed your sentiments, Jigsaw, there. I was very nervous about how that was going to transpire, but so too does Soniqs. That was a weird pinch out. Andy seems to not be too nonplussed. That ball out to the corner for Zeniel to clear, and despite all the pandemonium here, we have reset to square one. We might even be looking at our first OT in this series if this continues. Only 15 seconds to go to reach that milestone.
Up in the air, Alraz to Andy, the shot's on target, but Kinsey with the save. Early contest here for T. Carell, just mere seconds left on the clock. Who can find this lasting pressure? Kinsey, another one out. This one dropped down to Andy, and Andy can't find contact. That could have been it, but instead, overtime is indeed upon us.
We're going to see actually a little bit of double commit off of that kickoff. It's not going to go the way of Soniqs, but Magic Bear is not going to do too much else with it. Kinsey, flick across. Alraz immediately a steal. Andy's chasing it down. Zanil has the better of the 50, so maybe a counterattack play. Kinsey steal and boost. They're going for demos. Everybody from the Soniqs is in the air. They are not able to be contacted, and so far it seems like Torrent liking their positioning. They're not leaving this half. Luckily, Alraz has enough of a 50 to slow things down, only up until Zanil with the flip reset with the Torrent victory in Game 3.
What a absolute comeback for Torrent. May I remind you, it was 0-2 for them, past halfway, but 3 unanswered goals to get back in this. Torrent will indeed take game number 3, giving them the 2-1 lead in this series, and a huge exclamation point coming out of Zanil. All 3 goals, and that last one being ever so essential.
And that is really where it all comes down to. I think these are the most galvanizing victories in terms of morale. When you are down, but you know it's just chipping away. You don't have to take huge chunks out of the defense. Just get 1 goal, focus on the next one. Just take everything the small itty-bitty step at a time. And I think that's really why I like this Torrent roster. They tend to be a very passive team. They don't try to over-aggress when they don't have to. And I think that's the result. When you are able to focus on the little things, you get a victory. But I'm not even just saying that because I predicted them in this series. I'm just playing it because it's a fantastic comeback, as you had mentioned, Chicks. I almost forgot that that was the scoreline after a bit, but really that's what happens when this had taken oh so patiently. So kicking into game number 4, Chicks, I mean, Soniqs, they have a lot to think about. They started off this series strong, but right now it is just all crumbling down. A goal off a mistake 12 seconds in.
I don't know, the double commit, it hurts. It hurts so bad, but you can almost see the frustration that may be coming. It hurts to lose a lead and to lose the entire game because of it, and now they need to backtrack. They need to get back to the mentality of game number 1, of even the first half of the last game, since they were able to completely shut out Torrent. But you could tell they are indeed crumbling with just the mistakes that have started to litter them, the double commits happening on the field, the missed 50s, the missed touches in general, and now just the overconfidence coming out from Torrent. Magic Bear doing it. He's up, he's down, and he's on it in. Torrent finds their second early.
Aras had nothing on that read, and T-Corral really had nothing on that one. All air on the save, but can you really blame him? Nice setup, and this era of flip resets, you have to assume they're going to use it, so when the fake comes through, really just have to hope and pray for some form of deflection. You got to hope that Magic Bear calms down here. I mentioned they're mechanical. Look at the recovery off the save, and they're already up onto attack.
Torrent certainly doing their best Rocket League that I've seen them play in a while, and it's at a very good time as well. The shot by T-Corral so well placed, but double save. 2 up. T-Corral patiently waiting, holding on, but running out of boost. Alraz will stall this ball midfield. He's at a boost right here, right now, and can't find too much power behind this shot. Back to midfield, this ball goes. T-Corral will be to it first, but easily put back into the corner. Struggling is the Soniqs to get some offensive momentum. They may have a look here, but it just doesn't seem like anything is culminating into success.
T-Corral setting up an air dribble bump as Andy took over. However, defense just too strong for Torrent. Now how about that offense? Kinsey getting set up off the flick. That touch pass will beat 2, but the recovery is there. Alraz, even more than that, they're touching on the backfield. Magic Bears to race back and take it all the way around, which I don't think they're going to be too concerned about, especially because here we go yet again. The air dribble bump set up. Zanil from distance. Alraz gets a piece of it. It is just enough, but T-Corral is stranded. It's going to be Kinsey for number 3.
What? I don't know. I don't know what to say. Would that have been out? Was that touch needed?
I have to think that's one of those things where at this level of play, you have to assume there is someone breathing down your car's neck, and so you have to get that touch. So T-Corral's trying to get into the goal, backflip it out, and then they realize halfway through, probably didn't need to do that, and by that time, that ball has been put all the way through your goal line. So an unfortunate goal to go through for sure, but I think the main effort is not necessarily recognizing that goal, but recognizing now the enormous gap that is starting to open up. We have just hit halftime, and I would say 3, almost 4. That's a rare miss coming out of Torrent, at least based on how they're playing this game, but it's plays like that from Soniqs, these spurt out into the middle passes from Torrent that they just cannot account for.
Just seems like they've gotten slower almost. It's incredible to note. And Zeniel comes off the backboard, finds the save, and the pass, it's already out. It's gone. There's another missed opportunity for the Soniqs that could have gone in. And now, again, the defense continues to hold for Torrent. They're looking to go upfield, and Kinsey drops it right on Zeniel, patiently waiting. Flying by him is the Soniqs, and right now, Torrent has everything under their control.
Ooh, salt meets wound right there from Zeniel. They don't have to do him like that. It's already 3-0, and then the dribble comes in. They don't even touch it a second time. Just a little fake underneath, and can say, don't do it. No, the roller, it's going to be wide again, but that could have been number 5. That's a score margin we have not seen in this series, despite Soniqs getting 5 in game number 1. This time, it seems like this is where teams really need to hunker down, talk to the coaching, or really, at the very least, take the break in between games. Just figure out what is happening. It's one thing to lose a game. I mentioned that 2-goal loss Soniqs had earlier, but this is a whole other beast. The demos, Kinsey is demo chasing and spawn demoing Alraz. That is how confident they are. They don't even need to focus on these goals or give it up.
I would say that might have put him out of position. That's probably the case, and Andy's able to find one. But in a minute and 18, 3 goals seems like a really huge gap and not that much time. Have I seen greater comebacks before? Yes. At this level, no. So it's going to be hard for me to see if the Soniqs can come back in this game, but they need to do it quickly at that if they do indeed want something. And that's a good look, but not the finish they need yet again. Just under a minute remains, 3-goal gap. Can Soniqs find at least something to push some momentum going into game 4?
Well, they'll have to be able to essentially play some flawless rotations. Hope that Torrent stops hitting these shots. Kinsey is going to give them a bit of a reprieve. No contact on this. Magic Bear on the air dribble. Importantly, burning off some time, but continuing to press the issue. That one is going to be saved only if by the grace of the crossbar. Zeniel burning some more time into the corner, and this is where Soniqs really didn't stand the chance once this margin opened up. Torrent knows how to control the play. They know how to flick it downfield, and they're really feeling themselves. Soniqs really have to hope that this is going to be an iceable type of offense as they move toward the break as we go slowly toward Game 5.
I want to note, too, in particular, someone that's been popping off in these series has been Zeniel. He has seemed to take in some encouragement or just either the mentality that he can be an aggressor for this team. Normally, we noted Magic Bear earlier, but lately it's been Zeniel with the mechanics that keeps making plays. This is 2 games in a row where he's been top on the scoreboard, and it certainly shows. Either the goals, the assists, the saves, he's been everywhere on the field and even having some fun with it on the demos. You can tell he's confident, and that's when Zeniel plays best.
And I think the main thing that really people need in these games, as I mentioned, the value of having a player like Magic Bear, who is a really aggressive, really high flying. They like to get up into everyone's face. And the one thing that really Bass for the Past, a fellow caster AAA and I had talked about before, is Zeniel is a great player, but they're also just patient enough to be able to play as a utility player. Fits in the gaps that you need in the rotation. And if you need a high flying scorer, they're there. If you need a solid defender, they're there. If you need someone just to spot out passing lanes in the midfield and cut them out for that midfield defense, they can do that. And that's why I think Torrent has built a really solid roster that they can really put a lot of faith in going forward. It's just about really consolidating that play style. And right now I'm getting glimpses of what this beast could really become here on the Torrent side, and Soniqs' job to make sure that this addition of Alraz can recapture that brilliance we saw on day number 1. Are they going to be able to at least do it on defense? Yes, so far. Kinsey going to get denied from the tough angle.
comes Zanil again off the sidewall. It'll take 2 defenders, and Andy credited with the save to send this ball towards center field. Andy back on it, sends it to Alraz. Alraz up off the backboard. Here comes Zanil with the save, and he has just been everywhere on this ball. Kinsey to drop this one away to Magic Bear, and that's a transition goal. A better touch needing to come out of Alraz.
And that's, I feel like, forcing a pass there just because it seems like what you should play, but not necessarily what you really ultimately should decide on. You see T-Corel there, but you're going to have to force it through a defender. T-Corel also has to hit it from a tough angle. It just seems a little bit too desperate from the Soniqs, and I don't really think that's a necessary play through. This is where I get a bit worried on teams when they do get pressed into their half. I think the hunger for a goal starts to build, and you start making unfortunate mistakes like that. Torrent does not seem to be plagued by it. They're comfortable. They're playing the way they feel like they should, and so far it is working out. Despite all my doom saying it is only 1-0, I suppose I should get too carried away. Soniqs still have a lot of pace on that field. Thought Alraz can turn on that in time, but instead only going to get a bump on Magic.
Up in the air is Alraz to find a touch. Some follow-up, but again, running out of boost. Magic Bear shot is down. Kinsey ready and able to keep this ball in play is Zanil. Kinsey again pressuring this back wall, and it's just been Torrent to continue some pressure. T-Corel finally with some space, but only until he's pressured in midfield. A little bit of a pop-up here for Andy. He gets it over a couple. Finishing touch for Alraz, and they equalize the scoreline.
One of the most difficult things playing at a high level is making sure you don't send 2 when you're playing this quick, and that sometimes does happen to the best of us. This time it is Torrent, the Dabbing Reaper, going to be able to make an appearance as the goal explosion finally will signal the end of a scoring drought somewhat for the Soniqs, as they really do need that to be able to bring these games a little bit closer. Andy trying to make it number 2, but the slow play is not really going to work out. Not going to be fooling the one's main Kinsey.
Here comes ball back down, and Zanil is in midfield. Right place, right time. May have the recovery touch as well, but taken away from him by Andy. More looks. We're talking about Torrent again getting shooting. They just keep on pouring shots. We're halfway through. 5 for them in total. But still, this game is tied with time, and just 1 goal can be that difference maker. T-Corel, another huge save, and maybe they can turn this transition to some offense, but the demos, everything keeps shutting down Soniqs.
And every time I see Zanil touch the ball, I'm just holding my breath. It's incredible how much control they really do have. I think Soniqs are painfully aware of it at this point, and how they're also aware of just the damage Magic Bear can do, nearly putting the last defender on skates. Not going to find its way through. T down the line. Going to be left to Zanil, who will then be deflected. High lob, nobody up for it except for Andy. They're going to opt for the shot. Magic Bear has it and is able to extend it through. Great control. It's going to work that into a 50 on the sideline instead, and that's something they can build off of. Possession really changing hands quickly here in the midfield as both teams, I think, is just trying to figure out what these next steps are as both teams' defenses have stepped up to the plate.
Been a patient game, a very calculated attempt on a lot of these plays. Andy has been trying to step it up. Here's the pass to T-Corel. It's finished off real quick, and Soniqs are able to find the lead. Such good control. Andy has been trying to find the vision and the place and time to get these passes through, and they find a lead with that as well.
And this is where I really like to see passes come through. I think when we think of crossfield passes, it's always those long booming touches or finding someone in the midair and sniping them through. But sometimes it's just as simple as bringing it right up to the near post and just tapping it slightly back field into the middle, just like the Soniqs did right there. And it really does freeze up Torrent. They don't really know how to anticipate those. So well done by Soniqs, finding their composure, and honestly, if they can find a little bit more, they might have 2 goals. Alraz, that's a tough angle, and it doesn't look like Torrent have an equivalent one to get the save. 3-1. Soniqs, where did this come from?
T-Corel, you could tell he's there across the goal line waiting for the demo if there's someone on the right side of the field. It looked like another demo had happened elsewhere as the spawn was on the left side. Just chaos on the defensive rotation for Torrent, and now making the most and capitalizing off that opportunity is the Sonics. They're almost able to sneak another one in, but a double commit on that save makes sure that ball will not go in, but still working. The back line is T-Corel, and Andy is there to finish. They have stepped up their offense at the right time. They've taken the lead to 3.
The momentum of this series, it feels like it's on a scale, and it was slightly leaning towards Torrent. Now Soniqs have just punched their end down because apparently they are in complete control. Where did this come from? That is 3 goals in the space of just about a minute here, and with the same amount remaining. Can Torrent do anything about it? Apparently, no, because Andy is there for the save. A complete turnaround, just how quickly things can change if you're not 100% on your defensive side. Sonic showing just how lethal they can be, and reminding us all that the series is far from over. Number 5 from T-Corel.
It's so difficult to stay consistent at such a high pace. We see the momentum swing, we see the pressure, the mindset change coming out of the Sonics, and they have set up passes. 5 goals, everyone with at least 1, and 5 assists, 3 coming from Andy, and it has just been a more debut of offense coming out from the Sonics. There was another save, and here we go. They still maintain control on the offensive side of the field. Can they add one more onto it will be the question, because right now they've certainly taken game 5.
Yeah, there's no question there, and really the only question I have is who is going to show up in these next games. I don't even mean just who's going to win, but we've seen like these different identities come through from these teams. Torrent with all this composure, trying a lot of demos, and then other time this Torrent that's pushing out these double commits out of defense and looking really pressured. It's so strange to see these teams adjust to each other, but it's so much of a violent swing in playstyle that it's strange to see that we have all these neck-and-neck games, and then we have this Chicksa, a 5-1 from the Sonics to force Game 6 and try to equalize the series, take us on to Game 7. It's just, it's exhausting, but also why the AAA Challenger Series is such a fantastic circuit so far.
I think it is wild that these games aren't closer, but yet the series is close. It just doesn't make sense. But you're right, they keep adapting each time, and the realization in those adaptations allows them to win, but then the other team does the same, and it's like this back and forth because they're so good. They're just phenomenal with on-the-change flies. And now we're back to Game 6. On the line is the Sonics. Still with match point is Torrent, so they need 2 back-to-back game wins in order to take this, and Torrent just needs 1 of them. It's a huge question mark, but I think this first goal may tell the story of Game 6.
Ooh, and I really thought that was going to be it. Kinsey was completely unmarked, but I think they kind of confused themselves on that angle. They're going to save it for the Sonics. Andy trying to start off the Sonics offense for their first foray in. Only going to meet the bumper of Magic Bear. They got Kinsey in support. Will then fake a challenge through. Andy and Alraz double commit. T-Corel will extend that one out to the sidelines. Zanil quickly up for it. No contact. Everybody playing a different read, and we're starting to see not necessarily a cautious approach, but very safe touches coming through from both teams. A lot of high-flying, slow balls, not wanting to get each other too out of position. However, the first risk taken there by Kinsey. Zanil from a tough angle. T-Corel does not have a touch. Torrent does, and that's our opener.
It's a weird exchange, a patient exchange, and just one misread could cause the chaos of it all. Great job by Zanil to squeak that ball in. It doesn't need much power, but it needs the placement behind it, and he does just that for Torrent. Torrent, can they run away with this game? And it looks like they may just do that. Kinsey, the solo play right off kickoff from the wall to the ground and finds the pop above T-Corel.
You got to feel for Sonics. That play happens more often than you'd like to think in some games where you're trying to get off the backfield, but then the ball is just barely too far away from you. You're not sure if you can reach for it, so maybe you're trying to play predictively, and then by the time you realize that that is going to be really just a pure guess, it is too late. Kinsey has the second, maybe Magic Bear has the third. Andy just denies it in time. Alraz with a crucial clear as Ticarel steals the side boost and tries to join him up on offense. No challenge there. It's only Kinsey to get another clear.
No touch here for Andy. That could cause something. Going for the demo is Kinsey, but it will be cleared on out in the exchange. Magic Bear doesn't find the touch. Ticarel's a little too strong, and away this ball goes into Andy on the sidewall. Gets the flip, but can't do much with it other than the 50. Popped up in the air again, and Zanil quickest to it first, gets the flip reset, and an early challenge, a very early challenge coming out of Alraz, and Ticarel already halfway up in the air to follow up if needed.
Nice demo from Magic Bear, but that was a bit stronger of a back pass than I'm sure they anticipated. Now Magic Bear trying to make up for it with a 50 in the midfield. Kinsey, nice cut out. It's Zanil up in the air. They're just going to opt for the longer hit. It will force Andy to try to keep this one down. And even though Soniqs are decent ideas, I like the setups that they're getting into. The issue is they're not able to really control it in the way that they want. You see, there's just enough of a touch to avoid disaster, but not much else to build from. Zanil, if that went one in, then my goodness, I'm sure Soniqs fans in the chat are really starting to sweat bullets if they weren't already.
Ticarel off the back wall and already up is Kinsey. Andy able to follow up, but Kinsey recovery. Able to send this ball in the 50. Alraz wins this challenge down, but again, the recovery, the upfield pass to send it towards the opposite end, and Soniqs aren't exactly ready to handle it that fast. Andy looking for a clear, but needs to get it away from the offender upfield, and now Magic Bear has some space and time to at least make everything that much more difficult for the Soniqs. Alraz up from Andy, the 50. Here comes Ticarel up, but not the shot he needs. Again, a minute and a half, and really quick, Soniqs needs something to find the gap in this 2-goal lead for Torrent.
Kinsey is going to continue these high-flying touches and the boost steals, and main thing that I'm looking out of Torrent is how wise they are when it comes to how they want to approach this game. They know they don't need any more goals. They just need to defend for another 75 seconds, and you can see that in Kinsey getting those demos as they go back onto defense. Magic Bear bumping players out, and it's just utter control from Torrent. They've had a vice grip on this game all 5 minutes, and it looks like that's not changing anytime soon.
Wow. That is just a good solo play coming out of Magic Bear, though. The control in the air, you can tell he leaves ball cam, or he leaves whatever cam he's on, and pinpoints Alraz in the air to bump him away. This is Torrent domination at its finest, and I have to give credit where credit's due. Torrent has indeed impressed this series. I did not expect them to come out with such a fight after the struggles that they've been having recently. But they control, there's 45 seconds, and they still look for more opportunities. They still pressure Soniqs, and Soniqs just, they may not even get one in this game.
Of course, never want to count them out as soon as that comes through. That is the most quintessential caster moment, Jigsaw, where we have all had it happen to us. It's like, I don't even know if they're going to get on a board, and what do you know? Now we technically have a game. Anytime it's within 2 goals, I like to have a little bit of faith here. So now I can jump a little bit more on the Soniqs train, but it's going to be a heck of a lot to get past this Torrent defense. Let's see how they fare.
No, I'm caster cursing it for my prediction. It was very calculated. 100% calculated, but 20 seconds isn't gonna leave much left. The double commit for the Soniqs, and double commit as well of field. 10 seconds now, the clock ticks down, not in favor of the Soniqs, and this one may just be all that they wrote.
Ooh. And no! As I saw that, I was thinking maybe that could go in at the 0.1 second, but that's not how it's going to break on down. Torrent indeed will take it 4-2. Actually, I'm shocked I got that as correct as I did. I had faith in Torrent, but I actually did get a 4-2, so that's kind of neat.